It was a good game. I enjoyed the fuck out of it. It was perfect for me.
You love your father, the devil.
Hello from West Virginia.
Go find some information about the Hashinshin. They were badass assassins. Really? Wait, isn't Hashinshin the fucking dude that, you know, allegedly did some pedo shit? What the fuck were they assassinating?
The islanders of Tsushima noticed them first. The dark figures cutting across the Pacific horizon one evening in 1274. Local governor So Sukakuni knows what's coming. He rallies 80 mounted samurai and leads them through the mountains toward the beach. The invasion fleet lurches forward. The samurai look outnumbered. 6 years ago, the Mongol ruler Kublai Khan, grandson of Genghis Khan, sent a letter to Japan's Kamakura government. Innumerable people in far-off lands have learned to fear our power and have longed for our virtuous rule. Moreover, the sages consider the entire universe one family. Therefore, if we should not establish friendly relations with each other, how could it be in accordance with the doctrine of one family? Who would care to appeal to arms? It's seemingly an offer to peacefully submit to Kublai Khan and become subjects of the Mongols. Yet to reject his proposal is to flirt with apocalypse, Holocaust. The sublime cities of the Islamic world, the opulent kingdoms of Russia, mighty domain of Imperial China, have been defiled, burned, gutted. Millions of men, women, and children butchered by the Mongols. For unknown reasons, Kublai Khan has decided that Japan should now bend the knee to his empire. Japan's government responds by ignoring his letter. So Sukakuni is
Ignomegalald Ord.
First to suffer the consequences. At dawn, 1,000 Mongols charge the beach.
Wait, isn't Hashinshin then where the order of like where the name assassin comes from? Which is Shakespearean, if I'm not mistaken. But also, that's what the basis for like Ezio and Assassin's Creed. Isn't that what that is? Anne, you scared the shit out of me. Oh my god. Oh my lord. Okay. Imagine having the balls to dono wall the fucking Mongols. Yeah, I mean, pretty based. Altair from Assassin's Creed is Arabic. Yeah.
Samurai are masters of the blade, but they are first and foremost horse archers. The Japanese fight in small, disparate bands of samurai warriors and their followers. They prefer to pick off individual targets at range. This initially works against the Mongols, and Tsushima's defenders cut down many of the oncoming invaders. But Mongol tactics are foreign and overwhelming. Mongol domination has come on the backs of battle-worn nomads trained in horse archery since childhood. They launch synchronized charges in units, raining mass volleys of arrows down on clumps of enemies. When the exhausted enemy herds begin to thin, they charge the gaps and look to finish the battle with axes and swords. Here, the samurai's mastery of both grappling on horseback and unmounted sword warfare becomes crucial. In the melee, one samurai shatters his sword, and a shower of Mongol arrows kill him. The defenders of Tsushima are outnumbered.
No honor! The Mongols were like, honor? What? The fuck you mean, honor, bitch? Get arrowed. Get fucking rolled with with a sea of arrows from afar, you fucking bitch. They're like, honor, we do genocide. Like, that's the way we take over areas. Like, what are you talking about? We literally warned you in a letter. Hey, we do genocide. We're going to come do genocide. And these guys are like, no, we're going to fight with honor.
The bodies of Sukakuni and his followers are left on the beach. And by midday, the Mongol invasion of Tsushima is unstoppable. Local buildings are burned, inhabitants slaughtered. The Mongols do the same to the island of Iki before advancing toward the mainland. The fleet comes into view and drops anchor, revealing the Mongol flair for psychological warfare. Their bows are adorned with female islanders dangling from a rope strung through their palms. An onslaught of Mongol horse archers charge the beach to the tune of signals from gongs and drums. They launch ear-splitting gunpowder bombs, sending Japanese horses staggering backward. Then they swing hooks and other weapons to rip the Japanese from their mounts. The Mongols generally navigate the battlefield wearing versatile light armor and carrying personal shields, while the more heavily armored samurai only use shields as stationary protective walls for their archers. The samurai are relentless sharpshooters. Their counterattacks force some of the Mongols to retreat and regroup. One samurai, Takazaki Suenaga, is eager to make a name for himself. Japanese warriors are compensated by the shogunate government only when they can offer proof of their own exceptional deeds. Proof which often takes the form of eyewitness accounts or enemy heads. Suenaga has tracked the retreating Mongols to an encampment. One of his followers warns him not to charge, to wait for reinforcements, but Suenaga answers, "The way of the bow and arrow is to do what is worthy of reward. Charge!" The Mongols let fly a volley of arrows, wounding Suenaga and his 3 retainers. Suenaga presses on until an arrow drills into his horse and he's thrown to the ground, helpless. Suddenly, a charge of reinforcements storms forward, saving his life. The Mongol counterattack is brutal. The Japanese scatter and retreat inland, while the invaders lay waste to many of the homes and shrines along the coast. And then, they leave. There appears to have been a storm prior to their departure. Some accounts claimed it wrecked much of the Mongol fleet, while others state it was simply a fortuitous wind that gave
Through. Game of Thrones fucking choked. Absolutely. Game 7 loss. Just not even game 7. Just like it didn't even need to get to game 7. They were just like, all right, fuck this.
The spirit of justice.
Gave the demoralized Mongol fleet the opportunity to sail back to Korea. The Mongols may have realized they lacked the manpower to occupy southern Japan. Whatever the case, the Mongols are gone. For Japan, it's now time to grieve and rebuild. It's the following year that Mongol emissaries arrive in Japan, reiterating Kublai Khan's request to submit to Mongol rule. Hojo to
I mean, after that, they're like, lol, you guys lost the wind, lol, get the fuck out of here. I don't even understand why they would, I don't know what the strategic or tactical decision is to like literally overtake a fucking island. I truly do not understand it with like very limited, I mean, I don't know. Is Japan like dense in natural resources? I thought like the entire basis behind the katana is because the island doesn't have, the island doesn't really have any sort of fucking, like, it doesn't have a significant amount of natural resources. No, Japan had a lot of silver, but that's it. Has a lot of gold. It's a political reason new emperor needs to conquer stuff. More land equals more prestige. Intermediary port source of mainland. I guess the only reason why they would do it is for also like sea control by sea to ensure that oncoming, like ensure that I don't know, some sort of invasion potentially from that side would not Mongols were weebs, that's why. They would be the opposite of weebs to fucking kill Japanese people. Mongols invaded everywhere, including Vietnam and India. What I'm trying to say is from where? The US? No, but like there's allies in the region that could decide to put together a strategic partnership or decide to align with Japan to attack Mongols to flank Mongols from the other side. Don't guess, man. Just go read the history about that. All right, guys. I guess I should end the stream right now. I'm going to go read about the history of the Mongols.
You love your father
for the next
devil.
3 hours. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Shut the fuck up. Don't guess, dude. What the fuck?
Tokamune, the de facto ruler of Japan, has been beheaded. Later emissaries suffer the same fate. Tokamune knows the Mongols won't forget this. He constructs 12 miles of high stone walls on the coast of Japan. Another vital part of Japanese defense is prayer. The emperor, still an important religious figure in Japan, orders shrines to pray for peace and curse the Mongols. Yet the Mongol Empire only grows in power. They've crushed the last of China's southern Song dynasty, absorbed its mighty navy, and constructed a massive new fleet. In the years since the invasion, Kublai Khan has had time to orchestrate the downfall of Japan. In 1281, a Mongol fleet arrives on Tsushima. Defending samurai are crushed, villagers run to the mountains, but the Mongols follow the cries of fleeing children and hunt them down.
Kind of sucks for Tsushima that like they're constantly getting ripped because they're like the first line of defense. Maybe they should have dropped the honor thing.
They again occupy Iki and attack the mainland. But this time, the guarded coastal walls prevent the Mongols from establishing a position on land. The Mongol fleet is forced to float ominously in the bay, planning island raids. The samurai sense vulnerability. They take sandbars and small boats out to the Mongol ships, clamber aboard, and fight. One, called Kawano Michiari, takes 5 followers and bounds over choppy seas in 2 small boats. As they near a
Is the honor thing a myth? I thought the way of the Bushido was pretty clear cut on that. I mean, they're like, aren't they literally fucking cops? And like they did have, I'm fairly certain it's not a myth, dude. I think you're just coping right now. Not really. They were really very much practical as normal warriors. The samurai murdered the fuck out of a shitload of civilians, lol. Oh, no, I don't mean... Dude, I mean honor adjusted to the time period. And their code, I guess, would be... I feel like when I'm talking about it, I don't mean like the dramatic portrayal that you see now, or especially like anime and shit. I mean like they had a code of conduct that oftentimes was inflexible. Imagine being like, dude, there's samurai had no honor. They killed civilians. After I said they're literally feudal cops. Like their entire purpose as cops is to do that. That's not much has changed. Bushido was never a concept used by samurai. It was invented after the samurai were gone completely.
The spirit of justice.
Isn't it? Isn't that
father, the devil?
A modern retelling of like the code of conduct that they had though? Fransa'yı son yendiğimizde golleri Cengiz ve Kaan atmıştı. Moğollar geri dönüyor diye komplo teorisi falan tutmaz mı? Amerika tutar mı lan bu? Tutmaz. It's true. That's exactly the way the Bushido. I played Civ 6 for over 400 hours and played Japan a lot, and the units keep bantering about honor and code when you wage war. Oh, wow. Okay.
Mongol vessel, an enemy archer kills his uncle. 2 more arrows carve into Michiari's shoulder and left arm as he climbs aboard. He ignores the wounds, unsheathes his sword, kills a large Mongol, and captures an officer. Takazaki Suenaga is also eager to join the fray. He squeezes onto an outgoing Japanese boat, storms a Mongol ship, and attacks the crew.
Can someone explain to me what this guy is doing? Can someone explain to me what the logic is for being naked on a fucking boat when like all the samurai are just geared out of the ass? Don't you feel very scared in that circumstance? Kind of wild that they were like, all right, we're the peasants. We're going to row these boats. Hey, why the fuck do these samurai have like insanely gigantic armor on them while we're just like fucking nude? Weight drowns you? Nothing though? I mean, they're just naked.
Eager eager to join the fray. He squeezes onto an outgoing Japanese boat, storms a Mongol ship, and attacks the crew.
Like, I feel like if I was rowing a boat, I'd be like, hey, guys, I think it's kind of weird that we're rowing the boat and the dudes immediately in front of us that we're trying to deploy have all this armor on them, and we're just kind of not protected at all. I mean, these Mongol guys, they seem to be throwing a lot of arrows our way. Maybe that's just me, but I feel kind of fucked up about the fact that we're naked.
Mongols are bleeding supplies, but in midsummer the momentum seems to shift. Their massive southern fleet from the newly conquered southern China reaches Japan. The invading army is now 3 times as large as it was in the previous invasion. A tight battle at Takashima Island forces a Japanese retreat. Then the skies blacken. Sails flutter, waves swell. A typhoon overtakes the bay, devouring hundreds of Mongol ships. Soldiers are thrown overboard, vessels dashed against the rocks. The surviving Mongol ships cut anchor and abandon the invasion.
Damn.
The next day, thousands of Mongols...
So they literally lost the wind twice. Like, they lost the wind when they did a tactical retreat, and then they lost the wind again. Wind 2, Mongolian Army 0.
You love your father, the devil.
For a group of individuals that conquered, like, most of the fucking planet, they lost to a wall and they lost the wind. It's very... Maybe Trump is right about this fucking wall shit, dude. Walls are unstoppable. We have the power of wind and walls. Naval battle wasn't their thing. A lot of historians say that Japan would have won both times regardless of the storm. I mean, if you are known for horseback conquering and like gunpowder or like long range weaponry, tactical warfare on regular soil, and you really haven't upped your stats on any sort of like naval work, I think conquering an island is going to be pretty fucking difficult regardless, because there's a lot of morale that you lose on the way. You know what I mean? It's hard. You're hungry. You get to a fucking island that you don't know anything about.
Clap.
You know? Yeah, and then Japan's soil is not even regular. I mean, mountainous soil doesn't change the game all that much for the fucking the Khan and the Mongols. They operated on the East Asian plains, so there's a lot of mountainous regions there too. They literally were fucking bred in mountainous regions. That's not an issue. It's just land. They love land. But the sea part of that equation, it seems like wasn't their forte. They should have just like they should have increased their naval stats, is what I'm thinking.
And alive, wash up on Japanese beaches and float by on driftwood. One straggler, Chang, has been stranded on an island for 3 days without food. He and other survivors plan to cut down trees, build ships, and sail home. But they're captured by Japanese who are surveying the area. Uninterested in forgiveness, the Japanese execute every Mongol, Korean, and northern Chinese they find. They view the southern Chinese as old allies of Japan, only recently forced under Mongol control. They spared the lives of the newly submitted, saying that they were people of the Tang dynasty, and made them slaves instead. I, Chang, was one of them.
Oh, how nice.
The invasion is over. Takazaki Suenaga, now in his mid-30s, will have his exploits documented in scrolls and will present testimony.
By the way, this is partially the reason why it's difficult to fucking it's difficult to declare normative stances on things that happened that long ago, where it's like it's just you just gotta describe it as is, with the exception of and that is for most of history, with the exception of contemporary history, where you can at least take a normative stance so you can, try to persuade others from engaging in the same mistakes over and over again. No, you can't. Cultural relativism is not a sound position. I mean, it's not even cultural relativism. What I'm talking about is just that the way we fucking operate is impossible to associate with that. Not your fault, we forgive you. Now you are my slave. Yeah.
Ceremonies and Mongol heads to receive rewards from the government. Samurai like Kawano Michiari will be honored as heroes. Kublai Khan and the Mongol Empire had famously laid claim to the entire universe, yet for the final time they've tried and failed to claim Japan.
So if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and hit that.
Only reason why we know the specifics of the Mongol invasion of Japan is because Sunaga asked for scrolls to be painted showing his deeds of charging the enemy. The scrolls are pretty cool. Oh, that's exactly what we saw. This is what most of this video was using.